Beep beep. What is up, guys? My name is Sam World and I make music production and sound design videos here on YouTube. Now today I'm kind of scared but excited at the same time, as we're going to start a new start to finish series for Melodic House. And what the series is all about is essentially I'll be creating a track and we'll be working on each episode on different parts of the track. And obviously you guys are going to see the whole process it takes to build the track. Now, I'm no Ben Bomer or Lane 8, of course, but I do feel as producers we can always learn from each other. Let's say there's a full beginner out there and they watch this. Hopefully that can at least help them start getting into the genre if this is what they seek, on how to program drums, how to get like good chords, and cool little tricks like that. At the end of the day, if you get anything out of this, then I think my goal is accomplished with the videos I'm going to be creating for this series. As always, guys, if you want to support the channel, you can head over to evilsounds.com. We are going to be using the pack Exploration Volume 2, which just came out last week, as the main pack for this little track we're going to create. But I will supplement it with other packs as well if needed, in case the idea asks for it. Other than that, let's get started with the creation of the idea as we dive into this new exploration track, Chill. All right, guys, so the first thing we got to do obviously is create the idea. And I think this is one of the hardest things, even for myself, is finding an idea that I really like. So one of the things I like to do, especially when creating this kind of music, which is melodic house chill stuff, is start off with the chord progression. Now, I do have a little tip and hack for you guys if you want to utilize this to create the chord progression fast and just to be able to jam out chords without knowing how to play a piano, per se. And the hack is simple. We're going to utilize a couple of MIDI effects from Ableton, so let's do this. So first off, we open up a piano that we really like. I personally like to use the Piano V, the American Grey Road patch. You'll recognize the sound instantly once we start playing chords with it. The reverb on it is just amazing, but it can be a little finicky to get it right in the mix. From there, we are going to utilize the chord patch first, the chord MIDI effect here, which we can find under the MIDI effects. What this is going to do is it's going to pretty much tell Ableton when I play, let's say, D sharp, to play +7 semitones up and then +15 semitones up. From there, I'm going to utilize a scale and I'm going to utilize the preset minor, as I do want to create a track in minor. If you want to do a major one, that's totally fine as well. Okay. From there, I'm going to pick the key I want to be in. So for this, I'm going to go with D sharp, as it's one of the keys that I really like. Very easy to freestyle melodies in the pentatonic, which we'll talk about later down in this video, to jam out melodies and just move fast, because that's what we want. We want to get into a state of flow. From there, I am going to utilize another MIDI effect, which is going to be the velocity feature, which is going to control how hard the piano is being hit. So velocity is a parameter that we can use to let a plugin know how loud we want the plugin or the player in the plugin, let's say, to hit a note. So I don't want to have something that sounds like loud like that. I kind of want something a little bit more chill. So I'm going to increase the out high down. And that's going to allow me to control this. Now, from there, if you want to get more intricate and complex by adding randomization into it so that all the piano hits don't sound right, you can also do that as well. But for me, this is pretty much the setup I use to get inspired and to create the beginning of the track. Okay, now, in the chords, the reason I went with +7 is, first off, that's going to be the third triad or the perfect fifth. So if I'm playing a D sharp, then that +7 is going to be playing the perfect fifth, which is going to be here, or A sharp. And this is going to be one of the strongest harmonies you can have with any chord progression, so it's always wise to have it. Now, the reason then from there I'm going to a +15, it's just something that seems to be the meta in these kind of tracks. And what I mean by meta, I mean it keeps coming up time and time again. So essentially a chord will have this F sharp, but with that +15, what we're doing is pretty much, this is +3, 1, 2, 3. Then 1 octave +12, so that puts us up in here, which creates, I believe, a more pleasing chord. So I'll show you what it sounds like with a +3 and a +15. So from there, we're going to put it up an octave, and now it's going to sound like this. Some of you guys are probably already going like, holy shit, that's like the piano we all hear in these tracks. And you are correct. It's something that a lot of people do. And this technique is just called open voicing. So instead of playing our chords bunched up together like so, where we have our D sharp, let's say that first chord, our F sharp and our A sharp, we're spreading the load out. So the frequencies aren't all bunched up. And now we create something that, one, covers a lot more frequency range, so the piano sounds bigger, but at the same time, it also sounds more landscapey, and you're also spreading it out so you're not muddying it up. This is a great technique if you're going to be playing chords super low. For instance, if I'm here, one more octave down, you can already see that's too much, so I might have to open voice it a little bit more. But you can see that one just sounds great. Again, this is the technique that we're going to be using to create, and that's how it works. So there's really not much to it, just simple thing to just get some ideas going. From that, the reason I set this up is just because I like to start the idea on the keyboard here on the Mac. So literally I'm just pressing like notes in the D sharp. The scale will keep me in key, and from there let's just kind of jam out something. I like that. Okay, let's do a variation maybe here, like move some, and then finish it off. So we'll probably go to D sharp, so now we're in a minor for sure. Okay, so I like that. So it's gonna be, we're gonna record it, try our best here. Okay, so that's going to be our chord progression there. And as you can see, some of these notes are not going to be like the G is not going to be in the in the D sharp minor. So what I like to do from here now is to figure out what notes are being played. I'll record this. So the way I do that is just go here, one piano. We're going to hit record as this plays out. So and there we go. And then that's going to be our chord progression. From there, we can explore it a little further. But again, essentially what we're doing is just going D sharp, which is the 1 to the 6 to the 3, back to the 1, back to the 6, and then back, as you can see, to that there. So it sounds good, I believe. Yep. And we're going to leave that for now. And you can see there's a change on this B here where it goes from a C sharp to a D sharp here. This is going from a sus2 to a normal chord. So what sustained 2 means is the fact that in the B chord, you usually see the D sharp, but when you pull it down, you now have a sus2. It creates a lot more tension. You want it to resolve. But again, it works good here, as you can see. So we're going to kind of stick with that. I think it sounds great. So once we have that, we can go here and just delete all of this because now we don't need it. So from there, obviously we can start to work on our melody, or we can start to add the supplemental stuff. And I think adding the supplemental stuff is probably one of the better ways to go about in crafting the track out. What I mean by this is just the atmospheres and all that good stuff, as this is going to inspire you a lot more. So for this series, we're not going to create like an intro or outro. We're just going to kind of create like a Spotify edit, radio edit kind of track. So we're going to start the song off probably like this. So now I want to grab an atmosphere to use. So we're going to go into the Exploration Volume 2 pack and find something we can use. Let's go 3 up on this guy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of the highs on this. I'm not a fan. There we go. I think that sounds more pleasing. Okay, so for this track, it feels like this needs to come in a lot earlier, so we're probably gonna fix that. So it's like this. So it's gonna be. Okay, so now that we have this, obviously the issue there that we have to solve, because music production, I feel like, is a lot of problem solving. You'll have stuff you like, but how do you make it work? So obviously I think here either one, delay or reverb to allow the tail of this part to mesh with this more. It's going to be the key to kind of mask that cut that we have created. So I'm not going to lie, when it comes to reverb and delay, I'm a preset dude, so I'll find something that sounds kind of close to what I want and go from there. So let's see if we can maybe get like a hall in here. A vocal hall seems pretty self-explanatory. So let's see if we can. All right, so from here, let's add a bit of an echo to this so that maybe we can, again, fix this. And we are gonna automate it, and you just don't want to put it on there. The key to having tracks that sound really dynamicful and like the mix is alive is by creating automation. So we're gonna do that here. As we approach it, we might add the echo. So that's I can see that one's gonna need a lot of work here, so let's see if we can make that better. Let's try adding maybe like a bit of a fade so that there's a bit of like so. So let's see how that sounds like. Okay, so that's good. From there, we're gonna leave it as so. Now from here, I think I want to add like maybe like some drums, just to kind of get the rhythm going on there. So I like the idea of that, but let's add a close hat to kind of act as the kick. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna use Exploration Volume 2 sounds and probably pick the main lead of the song. Again, do it how you want to do it, but I just need a sound that's really gonna inspire me, and I already think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so a couple of tips. When creating your melody, obviously you do want to pay attention to the chords you're playing, but, and I say but like this, if you utilize what we like to call the pentatonic scale, you can jam out melodies very easily without paying attention to the chords. Now, what I find for not all of them, but some of the tracks is that they utilize the pentatonic scale, pentatonic minor and major, to make melodies so that the chords can change in the track, but the melody always stays the same and it always fits. Again, not all tracks do this, but this is a cool technique to know. Now, the way a pentatonic is going to work is, one, we're going to have here, let's say, our D sharp, because that's what we're on, minor scale, E flat. Now, in the normal scale, you're going to have notes like D, E, F sharp, right? G, our A sharp, our B, our C sharp, and then our D sharp. But in a pentatonic, you're going to omit two notes. Depending in major or minor, it depends which one you're going to omit. But the notes are going to be in the minor scale, the second note, which is that going to be the, well, I don't even know if it's where the hell it says E sharp, but we'll say the F. and also the sixth note, which is going to be the B. Now, the reason we omit these guys is just because they create a lot of tension in the scale. And usually these keys are what signifies a minor scale to an extent. And what I mean by that is, for instance, let's say I'm playing, but now let's say I add the sixth note into this. You can see how it changes completely, like more darker, more, yeah. Now let's do it a little more gracefully. Now let's say I play this over the chord progression, right? So we're gonna get rid of this, zero it out. You can see how it sounds a little ugh. But again, if I omit my F and the sixth note, now we're gonna have this, and I'll play it. Now again, that very nasty note. So again, this doesn't mean that the notes are bad or anything. It just means that you really have to be playing a certain chord for that note to really work well in the melody. So again, quick tip is just to kind of do that. Use a pentatonic minor. So with knowing that, let's try to create like a basic melody over this. Maybe we can do something like... So that one might be, I think, one that might be good to consider. Okay, so I think if we keep it, I think that might be it. So, okay, so let's try and record this. Okay, now let's see if we can just EQ this a little better. So I think we're going to stick with that as our main melody. We're not going to be super picky in the series just because we want to move forward, but I think that has a good ring to it. Let's see if we can improve on it just based on the progression of chords and the notes that we are picking. So obviously in the first chord we have D sharp, A sharp, and F sharp. So we are starting the melody with the D sharp. We are hitting that F sharp, and the only note that's not part of this scale, which we would consider unstable, is the C sharp. So it should work. And then here we're gonna hit D sharp, and then resolve to a C sharp. So now we're part of this chord here. I like an idea here. I think here we can maybe hit, so we are in C sharp, F sharp, maybe D. Dude, I love that. Nope, not that note. A sharp. We want to be again stable because we are very unstable in this chord, as you can see. Okay, cool. And then just we're gonna consolidate that as our main idea for here. So what I'm gonna do is just put a kick here now and the bass, because the bass is gonna follow the chord progression. I think that's very self-explanatory and something a lot of people know already. So we're just gonna create our kick. So let's just go into the pack and find like an okay kick. Usually the first kick's the best. When you create a pack, you put the best kick in the and this one sounds pretty, yeah. So let's see what it sounds like. We might leave the close hat there, by the way, just to give it a little top ring. Okay, so for a preset, I think we're just gonna go with a very basic low end. Nothing too crazy, something that's not Reezy, but more like the 5 feet swell patch. And then we might close it a bit more, so it's like so, and then we might EQ further. But from there, let's just grab the chord progression, stick it in. Usually with the telephoto, we want to look at the length of our kick. So this kick's ending a little before the halfway mark, so we can maybe do this. Piano's gonna get a bit of a cut just because I'm being super like, oh, that's fighting with the bass. So we're just gonna do an EQ. Oh, I like the sound of that. That means we can use this kind of atmosphere loop later on to create like little additive sounds here and there. For everything, I am going to add sidechain, but for stuff that I'm too lazy to automate the LFO tool off, that doesn't have to be super precise, I'll use like compression for sidechain. So right to the kick, very simple. We'll organize this further later on. Let's add the clap just to get that main idea done. Yeah. All right, a little too fast, a little too fast. 120. Okay, so I really like what we came up with, and I'm going to end this first episode here. So ideally, this sounds pretty good. I can hear it on loop a lot, so that's good. All it's missing right now is additive elements. What that means is little ear candy shots. So for instance, we might have something like little additive stuff that's going to make it come to life, make it not sound boring. And of course, as you start to arrange it out, the idea starts taking more of a shape. Other than that, guys, again, if you find the series helpful and you want to support the channel, head over to evilsounds.com. You're going to be able to find Exploration Volume 2 there, which is probably one of the biggest pack I've made. It's going to contain about 157 presets for melodic techno. It's going to have a full-out sample pack, which we are kind of utilizing here with effects, drum loops, drum one-shots, vocals, so we might see if we use those. But other than that, you guys take care, and I'll catch you guys for the next episode soon. Peace out and have fun producing. Thank you.